Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have Flight of the Navigator. This is a classic 1986 Disney film. It is an hour and 30 minutes long, and I've never seen it before. I know, that's really wrong. I am a child of the 80s, and I saw pretty much any science fiction thing at that time. I have no idea why I would not have watched this. Now, if I have seen it, and somebody in my family can prove to me that I did, my memory's been erased. Because I thought I would remember certain major things in this film if I did see it. Maybe I'm sure I've seen clips and little bits here and there, but this was very much all new to me. I know I'm a bad science fiction fan. I mean, this is the era. This is obviously born out of the experiences. Sorry, I shouldn't say experiences. This is born out of E.T., a number of other science fiction films that came out well before this. It's mostly very much a child meets alien spaceship, and things go pretty crazy in his life. And I had no idea one of the big turns in this technically was, you know what? Okay, I'm going to warn you. I'm going to give spoilers at this point. The movie's almost 40 years old. So if you haven't seen it yet, I suggest you go watch it. I did enjoy it. It's not going to be my favorite movie ever or anything, but I did enjoy it. It's got plenty of flaws. It's really soft around the edges, let's just say. But yeah, I'm going to spoil some things here. So you want to stop now if you don't want to be spoiled. Come back to me later. Watch it. Go ahead. I'm not going to tell you that it's a waste of your time. If you love sci-fi, if you love things like E.T. and The Last Starfighter and things like that, that definitely were influences. I would say watch it and then come back to me. And now I'm going to talk about spoilers. This kid he lives in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and his name is David Freeman. He's played by Joey Kramer. What I thought was really strange is, for all this time, whenever I've seen a poster for this movie, I thought for sure it was the kid from E.T. Like, he just went on and did another alien spaceship movie. In this case, he bonded with the spaceship rather than the alien. Although there is an alien at one point that he befriends. But he's really a puppet. And they do not bother to get rid of the little strings and wires at all. It's very clear he is a little tiny puppet. So, I don't know if it's just all the scenes, or just at least one scene is just like, come on. It's a little crazy. But yeah, Joey Kramer plays the main character. He's a 12-year-old kid. He gets fights with his brother who's 8, and it's the 4th of July. There's also, by the way, there's going to be a movie about a spaceship. It's a given. I'm sure that I didn't watch the trailer, but I'm pretty sure the trailer gives you that impression. This is a Randall Kleiser film, the same guy who did Blue Lagoon and a bunch of other stuff that I'm trying to think of offhand, and I can't think of. Come on, Randall. Some iconic stuff. Blue Lagoon, Grease. Oh yeah, Grease. She's from my area. He did White Fang also a little while back, and things like that. Yeah. So, sorry, itchy back. He makes a number of interesting choices early on in the film, because there's going to be a spaceship showing up at some point. And he keeps teasing you with ominous shadows falling over the crowd. And everybody's going, what is that? It's a blimp. And then there's another shot where the kid's moving through the forest, and he sees behind the trees these lights, and he gets past the trees, and it's a water tower. It's just things like that are just, are we going to see it? No. Are we going to see it? No. It gets a little silly after a while. But when he eventually does run into the spaceship, He doesn't know it, and we don't know it. He goes home, discovers somebody else is living in his house. His parents are long gone. His family's nowhere to be seen. What is going on? And I didn't even know about this twist. I didn't realize that he's been gone. He had been abducted, apparently, and it's now 8 years later, and his family wrote him off for dead a long time ago. That's a pretty dark turn for a 12-year-old, a movie that focuses on a 12-year-old. It's super. You're thinking this is a Stephen King movie. A little bit. There's just a little bit of that dark tension there, and I kind of like it. It's actually a nice surprise, and also, I mean, also the kind of the darkness that you'd find in a lot of E.T. I mean, everybody treats it like it's a kids movie. There's some really dark crap that goes on in E.T. There's silly moments, there's sweet moments, but there's tear-jerking moments, but there's also some really dark stuff in E.T., especially when you get the government just rushing in and taking over the little suburban town once they find that E.T. is a real thing. So yeah, but this here, you got this kid who's traumatized by the fact that his parents are so much older. His little brother is now his big brother, and immediately, for some reason, NASA, not any other government agency, but NASA, who also, by the way, has found the spaceship, decide, well, this kid, it must be important because he's just shown up after 8 years and hasn't aged a day. Yeah. So everything, I'm going to try to be careful about anything further, but it's still, that's the big turn in this. And is it something where he's going to, be a guinea pig, or is they find there's a connection between him and the spaceship. And we do find, eventually, he finds that there's a connection between him and the spaceship, which he nicknames Max, and is voiced by Paul Reubens. You know who Paul Reubens is. That is Pee Wee Herman. At first, I knew he was in it, and I was like, is this really Max? Is it really Paul Reubens? Maybe he was a different character in the movie that I hadn't seen yet? No, it was really him, and it doesn't sound anything like Paul Reubens as the movie starts, as we first get to meet Max the spaceship. We learn all about his origins and everything else, and what he does, and what his purpose is, and what his connection is to David. I already forgot his name. What his connection is to David, and of course, eventually, though, it doesn't take long. Once they connect a little bit more, he starts to take on certain attributes that are familiar to David, and he sounds more and more like Pee Wee Herman as we progress. He gets sillier and funnier. He even laughs like Pee Wee Herman. So it's very much people saying, you know what? Him having I have a feeling at some point in the storytelling and the directing, when they were making the film, they're like, well, the robot, he just seems so cold. And maybe the ADR, the stuff that they were doing, later, they were like, well, it doesn't seem like they have a really good connection. I bet you maybe we should just let Paul be Pee Wee Herman at this point, and have the spaceship sound like Pee Wee Herman, and he'll be just Pee Wee Herman the spaceship. And that's essentially what he becomes after a little while. He's making jokes, he's saying things that Pee Wee Herman would say. It's a little offsetting at first, but yeah, it ups the childlike factor. It really covers over the really rough wounds this kid is dealing with. Those Band-Aids get ripped off again real quick toward the end, as the kid, has to risk his life to travel back in time, if it's even possible, and reset things. So far, as far as I know, yes, it's successful because it's a happy ending. It's a Disney film, but I have to wonder if there's still an alternate reality where the parents and the brother are standing there left with the son, brother, with David, disappearing in a spaceship for a second time. This time they know that he left in a spaceship, and realize they'd lost their son again. They've lost their kid to a spaceship, surrounded by NASA and cops, gun-toting NASA people and cops. have a feeling there's a conspiracy theory out there based solely on this movie. I don't know. But yeah, it would be kind of a sad alternate reality where they lose their child twice in 8 years to the same thing. But yeah, it's a little upsetting. But happy ending. He returns to his life, but with a few little extra things in tow and the memory of his adventure. So there's smiles all around. People tell each other they love each other, and all is good in the world. So yeah, it's a sweet, fun what if movie for kids. Like, what if you were taken away in a spaceship and you returned and everything was different? I mean, how would you feel about your family? How would your family feel about you, and thinking that you were gone and now returned to them from the dead? Kids get, unfortunately, kids get taken away or lost in numerous ways, sadly, almost every day, if not more. To be able to have your kids suddenly come back exactly as they were, unchanged, would be heartbreakingly awesome at the same time. Heartbreaking and awesome at the same time for any parent. It's a dream of any parent, I think, who has lost a child like that. To do that. So they don't really dig deep into those emotions, because pretty much the moment they get the kid back, they take him to the hospital to be looked at, and they're like, hey, by the way, we're going to hang out with you at the hospital. We'll take turns, take shifts, hanging out with you at the hospital as they examine you. And then, oh, by the way, NASA's here, and they're going to take you for the weekend. Is that okay? We've missed you for 8 years, but they're going to take you for the weekend, which then they're going to try to extend a little bit further, because Howard Hessman from WKRP in Cincinnati is leading NASA, and he realizes they're barely scratching the surface on this alien spaceship thing, and this kid coming back from the dead. So, yeah, there's a lot to process in this. I want to mention that also a very young Sarah Jessica Parker is in this. She's barely in her 20s, I think. She's cute as a button, and she's kind of David's only friend when he's kept in containment in NASA. They give him a bedroom with all sorts of toys, even Transformers, a TV, no phone, but a big mirror that is obviously people behind it watching him. You do not want to be 12 with a two-way mirror in your room. Let's just say that would be awesome. That would be awful. And I want to also mention that Disney Plus is doing a reboot of Flight of the Navigator. I think just for Disney Plus. I don't think it's going to be a movie, but Bryce Dallas Howard. Dallas Bryce? Why am I messing that up? Bryce Dallas Howard. Bryce Dallas Howard, the daughter of Ron Howard. She's making a remake. So yeah, she did some Mandalorian stuff, and she's in Jurassic World. So yeah, she's making a reboot, if you didn't already know. So that might be interesting to see how they follow up on this kind of story with a new generation. If they make it darker or scarier, or it'll probably have better special effects. Although I have to admit, the spaceship, while super glossy, super shiny inside and out, was actually really creative. At least how they moved Max's eyeball around, or face, or whatever it is, the way he interacts with David, how they moved that around that little set was pretty cool. And the morphing chair and the stuff rising out of the floor, out the controls and stuff like that, and the floating steps that allows them to get in and out of the spaceship, all that is kind of really cool, especially for 1986. I mean, we've had all the Star Wars movies out by then and a bunch of other things, but and you can tell that it's from that era. It's aged not too well, but it's still a cool effect for its time. It looked really nice. It had the Abyss stairs, like the creature from the Abyss became the stairs for that spaceship, or was the spaceship. Who knows? I don't know. But it's a big deal. You know what? I don't know why I'm looking at this. As if I was gonna pick tomorrow's episode randomly. I am not gonna do that, because tomorrow is Wednesday, and that means a new Disney Plus series from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And you know what that is. We're getting the first 2 episodes of this 6-episode series, Hawkeye. So, yeah, I'm pretty much going to be up at midnight tonight and watching that and talking to you again in just a few hours. So, yeah, I'll probably watch at least, I'm going to watch both of them. Of course I'm going to watch both of them. So, yeah, Hawkeye is up next on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge. And then it's Thanksgiving, and who knows where we'll go from there. Who knows where I'll be. We'll see. I'll see you then tomorrow with Hawkeye on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge.